Hello, my friends. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? It is Wednesday. Okay. This week has been just a hard one to keep up with. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about differences and perception. I had a whole different thing for this video that I was going to talk about. But I just watched this very, very cute video on Instagram. And I mean, you've probably seen something similar where, you ask some kids, like some young kids, what their differences are between them and their friend. And usually the visual comparison is like they look completely different. They have completely different heritages. They have different skin tones. They have different, disabilities, things like that. And these children struggle to determine the differences. And, they name these like very innocuous things. Is innocuous the right word? Hold on, let me Google it. Yeah, very innocuous kinds of things. Like they don't like this food or whatever. It's super cute. Because it just goes to show that we teach perception. We aren't born with perception of what is right and what is wrong. And the idea of right and wrong is a perception, is a form of perception, and it is taught to us by someone and something. So I wanted to talk about that for a second. I'm a few shots in, so you'll have to forgive me a little bit, as I'll probably get a bit rambly. I'll remind you that one of my focuses this week was not drinking, although that should be a focus every week, honestly. But we're too late now. We're too deep in. This week's already just over. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. I feel like I just said everything I want to say. No, I have more to say. Hold on. Give me a minute. Okay. I think it's so interesting, honestly. Just these biases that are coming from historical aspects to cultural aspects to even just like on individual levels, these biases that develop and then permeate throughout society and civilizations and people. It's very interesting. I mean, in a terrible way, it's very interesting because, the level of difference that is acceptable is constantly changing, for one. And we teach this to our children. We teach them what is acceptably different, back in the day, being black was not an acceptable difference. It was something that you look down upon fundamentally across the board just because of a extra fucking melatonin. Is it melatonin? What the fuck? Is it melatonin? The thing that makes your skin tone change. Is it melanin? Melanin. Oh, it is melanin, not melatonin. Melatonin is the thing that makes you fall asleep. Melanin's the thing that changes your skin tone. So, just because of extra melanin, people were fundamentally looked down upon. And we taught that to our children. That is the foundation of systemic racism. I mean, we built systems around people being lesser than because of their skin tone. And you think that's not somehow omnipresent in your mind and in the minds of the children that you're teaching? I mean, seems a little bit nearsighted, don't you think? Sorry, I'm not like attacking you. I'm just saying systemic racism is totally a thing and it's everywhere. But, and I mean, really, if you're trying to say that it's not, it's like you're just not looking very hard. So, good luck living in your delusion. I'm sorry. I'll bring it back. Okay. Um, yeah. So children, we don't come into this with like some grandiose fundamental understanding of what is right and wrong. Black people were wrong at some point. They're not anymore. They never were fundamentally, but we perceived them to be. We had a perception that black people were lesser than, but that has never been true. It's currently not true. And yet, we fucking did the craziest shit up and down the board. As a civilization, as a species, we did the craziest shit. And that's not to say that other species don't do the same thing. I mean, ants make slaves out of other ants and shit. I mean, it happens. It does. But we are the only ones that have the certain level of capacity of psychology and comprehension and thought and stuff that makes that happen. So, obviously, there's some blame to be had realistically here. And not really just some, like all the blame for allowing this to happen and, you know, it continuing the way it does today. It's honestly tragic. It's tragic in every single way you think about it. These perceptions that we teach ourselves, that we perpetuate through action and environment and teaching. You know, and I think it's good. I think it's important to remember that our differences and the importance of those differences are not innate. They are taught. They are shown to us through the environmental choices that we make in our society. And on top of that, perception is a whole beast in itself. I mean, the way that we perceive reality is constantly changing. The information that we take in and we then assign to our reality is constantly changing. And yeah, it's really interesting in a terrible way to see the way everything kind of devolved, right? I'm losing track of the point. I think I've expressed majority of the point, honestly. It's just, yeah, I mean, don't forget about the fact that you were a child once who did not understand the difference between you and someone else who looks completely different than you. Because you understood them as the person that they are inside. You know, completely separated from the physical things, the psychological things, the, you know, I mean, back in the day, being gay was a psychological disorder. Having a different choice of sexual partner, which is hilarious to think about as being a disorder. I mean, it's like literally present everywhere in the animal kingdom across many species. It was a disorder that people got locked up for in institutions. That's not the case anymore today. The perception upon that has changed quite dramatically. So it does make you wonder how much perception on certain things that you might hold off limits in your own mind might change in the future. Because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just people. We all make mistakes. We all have dreams. We all have wants. We all have desires. We all want to belong. We all don't want to be alone. I mean, hell, even psychopaths, like literal psychopaths. I mean, it's a, you know, academically studied phenomenon that occurs, and people are treated for it. They're treated because those people deserve the opportunity to progress. I don't know. I haven't researched psychopaths specifically much, but I mean, it is a thing that you can go to therapy for, I guess. And I suppose that's the interesting part in the grander spectrum of, not just the specific case of psychopaths, but how many things are no longer like terrible things, but rather something that can be treated with compassion and treated with the dignity that it is, asked of us, because of the fact that it's a thing that someone didn't choose to be born with. It's a happenstance of being alive, And I think that's a lot of things, transgender people. I mean, I could make several videos about that alone, but, these are people worth our time. These are people worth respect and dignity and the opportunity to be themselves. So I ask you to ask yourself for a moment, what are your hard lines? And then ask yourself if you could ever conceive those hard lines changing in the future. And I don't think that everything that you would come up with would change your mind on your hard lines in the present. I just think that it does go to show the biases and perceptions that we exist upon and live within that are otherwise unchanging in our own minds, but changing in the grander scheme of the evolution of like culture and our society as a whole. I mean, the Republican Party is a fantastic example of that, because the Republican Party has always been founded upon the foundations of people getting their share of the pie, right? Everyone gets a chance to have a house. Everyone gets a chance to have a family. Everyone gets a chance to have the American lifestyle, the dream. But the fact of the matter is that can no longer be delivered upon, because the environment in which that dream is fostered has changed. You're no longer able to buy a house, have a family, and do all that easily. It takes extreme measures to do so. And people do it all the fucking time. But, I mean, to think that people think that the Republican Party is delivering anything to them in that regard anymore is laughable, because it's not happening. I mean, that was the cornerstone of the American Republican Party, was conservatism, I suppose. And, people become more conservative as they get older. Well, that's changing too, because the fundamentals of having a family and having a home are no longer easily accessible. So, I think it's fair to say that if you aren't considering the person that you're opposing in your own shoes, if you aren't considering the other person in a way that you consider yourself, if you aren't saying, there's a part of me that's inside of that person that I'm opposing, then you're sort of missing the point. The differences that define us, the differences that separate us, are so small in comparison to the things that make us the same. And that's what's important to focus upon. These divisive measures, these divisions of what we believe in, and that being the breaking point for everything that we do, is the problem. Acceptance and nurturing of difference is what we need more of, because the differences create the diverse ecosystem that we live within. And I don't know about you, but fostering one thing to drive the entirety of society in a specific way does not sound like a diverse ecosystem in which to reside within. I don't know. Does that make sense? You picking up what I'm putting down? You probably are. All right. That's it. That's the topic for today. Moving on to miscellaneous. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the topic is now over. I now get to babble upon my life. Sorry about yesterday's abrupt ending without any miscellaneous section. I had to pee really bad, so I was just like, okay, it's over. We're done. I'm moving on. But hopefully you gained something from the stock market stuff yesterday. I don't know. Yeah. I'm feeling quite lethargic this week in general. Just not feeling great. I'm doing my best to keep up with it. I did laundry last night, so I'm still ticking away at that. Tomorrow is the last day that I can actually film a PSAZ video, so I'm going to try. I have a very specific style in mind, but I don't know if I'll actually get it. And my recent grinder guy that I've been talking to, that I hung out with once, suggested to me a free clinic for getting STD tested. So I might look into that, but they have like a request for an appointment sort of thing, so that might wind up taking more than what this week will allow. So that might also not get done. I did buy a salad and go on my way home because I didn't want to eat bean burritos or honey garlic chicken leftovers that are probably kind of bad at this point. But I will be doing more laundry tonight. I probably have like 3 more loads left, so I just gotta do it every night this week, basically. And yeah, that's about it. Another video for you today, another delightful one. I wanted to talk about sex today. Which I'm like so timid about talking about. I wrote this extremely long babbly thing about my emotions in regards to this one guy that I just hung out with. Oh my god, I could fill a whole video with that. But I wanted to make that one of the videos. I really want to, but I'm like terrified. I am terrified of filming that and putting it online. I don't know why, because no one watches these videos. There's like such little risk to me. It's just going to get lost in the sea of other videos that I make in this channel. So I should not be concerned. But I just like pulled out every single pretentious stop that I could. I wrote it kind of drunk too, so that helps. but it's like, it's so yeah. I'll read you one paragraph, and maybe one day I'll read it, but I feel like this paragraph really exemplifies the overall vibe, which is, and even then, I deeply understand that these feelings I am experiencing are not you, but rather a fluttering of a dream in which I desire to rest my weary head upon. No, you are but a man, I am but a man. Inside, however, is an ecosystem feeding upon stimuli and rot, a garden left unattended for far too long. There's berries growing in the corner, but they're not exactly safe to eat. The weeds have become a bed hard not to find comfortable. There's nothing else outside of this realm. That is, until you come along and tell me there's thousands of other gardens awaiting for a good frolic. Perhaps my forest could be fortified by some trampling. It's so much. It's just too much. There's like this whole like garden forest ecosystem allegory kind of like thrown throughout the whole thing. It was cathartic, though. I will give you that. It was cathartic. I don't know. I just find myself in these pits easily with it's too much. It's too much to even whatever. I don't care. It's too much to even go into. Yeah. To summarize though, like literally my brain has been fucked up. But just like this dude who happens to be nice and like gave me some attention. Like I'm just like my brain's like, wait, what? Hold on. Wait. Hold on a second. Let me figure this out. And then I've just been stuck in that for the whole week so far. It's been bad. It's not been good. I've been just like I think I have ADHD because like the amount of dopamine that I received from that and the the calm down from that was just so hard. And I'm just like, what am I doing? What's the point? Hold on. Just like all week. That's all I've been doing. It's so dumb. It's like I forgot about everything. Why? I don't know. Am I really that deprived? Perhaps. I don't know. Like I said, I wanted to make a video about sex because I feel like that's an interesting topic, and I don't think that the perspective that I would have upon it would be a normal one. Which sounds less useful because, not many people will be able to relate with that, but, so maybe there's someone out there who feels somewhat similar. Okay. This video's been long enough, right? Just been babbling for 22 minutes. It has helped talking about it to the few people that I've been able to talk to about it, which hasn't been enough, but it's helped. Because God almighty, do I need to get over myself basically all the time. I hope you're understanding the feeling that I'm expressing to you right now. Anyway, that's all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about sex tomorrow. I'll probably put it off with something else again because I'm also intimidated to talk about sex just in general because it's kind of a scary topic to like talk about casually, even though it shouldn't be. It is, especially because like, there's like Annalise watches these videos. I love you, Annalise. Love you so much. But my sister and my mom also watch these videos periodically, so there's that. Hopefully my mom would just like skip that video. I don't know. It's on YouTube, so I don't tell anyone about these videos for a reason, okay? It's true. Okay.